say hello to pointers, because in this video we are going to get started with creating our first ever pointers, and we are going to discuss about its syntax and how to use it and all that stuff. So let's quickly get started. So you can see I have a code open. So in that code I have declared 4 variables. One is of integer type, one is of float type, one is of char type, and one is of bool type. Okay, their names are ivar for integer variable, then for float it is fvar, for char it is cvar, and for bool it is bvar. Okay, now when I am declaring these variables, I also initialize them. So integer variable is initialized with 10, then float is initialized with 10.10, then char is initialized with small a, and boolean is initialized with true. Okay, so basically we have these variables. Now what we are going to do, we are going to understand about multiple things. So the first thing that we are going to discuss in this video is how we can print address of a variable, how we can get address of a variable. So that is the first thing that we are going to discuss in this video. Then the second thing that we are going to discuss is about the syntax of declaring a pointer. What is the syntax for declaring a pointer? That is second thing. The third thing is how we can actually declare a pointer, and then we are going to discuss how we can initialize a pointer. And finally, we are going to print the values which are stored inside the pointer. See, pointer is nothing but a variable. So whatever going to be stored in that inside the pointer, we can also print it, right? So as we are storing, let's say 10 in integer variable, we can print 10 by writing cout ivar. Similarly, if we store something inside a pointer variable, we can also print that. So we are going to do that. So let's quickly get started with the first thing, how we can print address of a variable. Now you all know, to print or to get address of a variable, we have an operator called an address of operator. So in the operators model, we have discussed about this operator, that is address of operator. So this address of operator is very important in this model, that is pointers. Okay, so address of operator is actually used to get address of any variable. Any variable. So whenever you have any variable and you want its address, then you can use address of operator. So let's quickly see how we can use this address of operator and how we can print address of all these 4 variables. So let's quickly see one by one. So let me just print address of ivar first. So to do that, let me write cout and then address ivar. So what is the syntax? I hope you remember it because we have seen this in the operators model. See, we have to write and followed by variable name. And represents address of operator. So when we are writing and variable name, that means we are kind of getting address of that particular variable. Okay. Similarly, if you want to print address of fvar, then what is going to be the statement? It is going to be cout address of fvar. Same for the other types, cvar and bvar. That is it. It's very easy, right? So address of operator is super simple. You just have to add it in front of variable name and you will get address of that variable. Okay, now let's quickly go to the compiler and let's quickly compile this code and let's quickly execute this code. So let me open the terminal, clear it, then let's quickly compile this code. So g++ space, name of my file is hello pointers.cpp. now let's compile it. It is getting compiled. It's taking time. I don't know why. Okay, now it has got compiled. Now we have our executable. Let's quickly run it. So ./a.exe. Okay, so you can see we are getting different values on our screen. So you can see the first value is 0x61, then something. Then we have multiple values, right? So we have 4 different values. Okay, so we are getting 4 different addresses on our screen. Okay, so you can see the addresses are starting with 0x. So basically we can say that the addresses are actually represented in hexadecimal format. I'm going to explain you why these addresses are represented in hexadecimal format in the next video, but right now just understand these are the addresses. Okay, they look a little bit ugly, right? Because 0x61FEC1 or what is that? They look a little bit ugly, but that's fine. We don't have to marry them, right? Okay, cool. So this was the first step, how we can get address of a variable. What you have to do, we just have to write and operator in front of the variable name and you will get address of that variable. Now let's discuss about the syntax of declaring a pointer. See, we have address of a variable now. See, we have this kind of address. Now what we have to do, we have to create a pointer. What is pointer? It is a variable which will store this address. So we have to create a variable which can store this address. See, normal variable, integer, character, float variable cannot store this address. See how ugly it is. No one will keep that. Okay, so that's the reason they have special variable type, that is pointers. So pointer is specially designed to keep this kind of thing. Okay, so let's see what is the syntax of declaring a pointer. So syntax of declaring pointer is very easy. As I always say, it's very easy. What you have to do, see, whenever you are creating a pointer, you are going to store an address, and that address will obviously belong to some variable, and that some variable will have some data type, right? So let's say you want to store address of integer type variable. So what is data type of that variable whose address you want to store? It is integer. Let's say you want to store address of character type variable. So what is data type of the variable that whose address you want to store? It is character. So whenever we want to store any address, that address is going to belong to some variable, and that some variable will have some data type. So the first part of the syntax is data type. So let me write it in comment. Okay, so let me give multi-line comment. The first thing is data type of a variable whose address we want to store. Okay, so let me write it in descriptive way so that there will be no confusion to you. Whose address we want, oh my god, this is getting too big to store. Okay, so the first thing is data type of a variable whose address we want to store. Now after writing the data type of a variable whose address we want to store, we have to write star. Now this star after data type denotes that this is a pointer. This is a special kind of variable. It's not a normal variable, it's a special kind of variable. So this star denotes a pointer. Okay, so after that you have to write star. Now there are two variants. You can either write data type, then you can give space, and then you can write star, or else you can write data type and you can immediately write star after that without any space. Okay, both are fine. So the first variant is you have to write data type, then space, and then star. Otherwise you can write data type directly followed by star, no space in between. Okay, then after writing these two things, data type followed by star, what you have to do is you have to write name of the pointer. Okay, so I'll write identifier name followed by semicolon to end the statement. That's it. How easy it is. It's so easy. Okay, so what we are doing, we are writing data type of a variable to which we want to whose address we want to store, followed by star, followed by identifier name. Oh, there is one third variant as well. See, you can also do it like this. This star can also be attached to this variable. This is also allowed. Okay, so all these three are a valid declaration of a pointer. All these three are a valid syntax of creating a pointer. Okay, now let's quickly move ahead and let's create a real pointer. It's just a syntax. Now let's create one. So let's declare a pointer. Let's declare a pointer for this variable, that is ivar. Now what is the data type of that variable? It is integer. So what is going to be the first thing? The first thing is going to be int, because we are declaring a pointer for integer type variable. Then we have to write star because we are declaring a pointer. Then we have to give a name. So I'll name it as pointer to ivar. So I'll name it as something like this, pivar1 or pivar. So basically it is pointer to ivar. That's why I'm naming it like this. You can give any name. It's not compulsory that you have to write p in front. It's not like that. That's it. That's the pointer. Similarly, let's declare another pointer for, let's say, boolean variable, that is bvar. So how you will do that? You have to write data type of the variable, it is bool. Then you have to write star. Then, oh my god, this is bool. Then you have to write star. Now let me write it in second way. So I'm giving space after bool, then I'm writing star, and then I'm writing name of the bool pointer. So let me write bvar. Let's say you want to create a pointer for character variable. So you can write char star pointer to char var. This was the third way, right? Where you are writing star. Okay, Okay, so by default what is happening, my editor, whenever I'm saving, my editor is converting all the declaration into the third way. Okay, this is something which is happening. But always remember, you have three declaration types, or you can declare it in three ways. There can be space in between data type as well as identifier name. You can attach star to the data type and then give space and then you write identifier name, or you can write data type, then give space, then write star, and then immediately after that you can write identifier name. All these three types are valid. Okay, so yes, that was how we can declare a pointer. Now let's go to the next step, that is how we can initialize a pointer. Okay, so let me now comment this thing, because whenever we declare a pointer, at that time only we have to initialize it, right? So let me just rewrite it over here. See, now we have pointers pi var, then pb var and pc var, but there is no value in it. They don't have any value in them, right? So what we have to do is we have to initialize them. Now what these pointers are going to store? They are going to store address. Now this pointer, which is integer pointer, which address it is going to store? It is going to store address of this variable, that is I var. Okay, how we can get address of I var? It is very easy. We have to write and I var. And I var is nothing but address of I var variable, right? Similarly, this pointer is going to store address of b var variable. So you have to write is equal to and b var. It's just similar to initializing your normal variables like integer, character, float variables, right? And here the only difference is we are initializing it with address, right? Then similarly here you have to write and c var. Cool, that's nice. That's pretty awesome, right? It's very simple. How you are initializing the pointer, it's very easy, right? Now we have the pointers initialized. Let's print their values. So this was the last step of our video. So let me write cout pi var. Let's see what is there in pi var. So let me write endl after this, and let me repeat these things, and let's print pb var at the new line. Let's print pc var at the third line. Now let's quickly compile this code and let's execute it. Okay, so you can see we are getting 4 values. Why there are 4 values? Okay, let me write a separator in between so that we'll differentiate between first 4 values and last 3 values. Okay, so let me write it something like this. Okay, now let me clear the terminal. Let's compile this code again and let's execute this code. Okay, so you can see, just focus on this bottom 3 addresses. You can see we are getting 3 addresses. The first address is address of I var. You can verify it over here. This one and this one are similar. Similarly, the second address is address of b var. You can verify it over here. This one and this one is similar. And the third address is characters address, character variables address. So you can see this one, this one and this one are similar. Okay, so basically these pointer variables are storing addresses of the variables, and yeah, I mean we did it, right? So in this video basically we discuss about what is the syntax of creating pointer, how we can initialize the pointer, and how we can print their value. That's it, right? So see you in the next video where we'll continue our fun on this topic, that is pointers.